We're going to switch gears a little bit here and we're going to get to a more fun story. Okay. Something more, just a little bit different. There was a viral video on TikTok that really made me think about something. What the hell happened to sitcoms? What happened to some of the shows that many of us grew up on? And she said something in particular about what those shows did for Black Americans, the Black sitcoms, like how it was inspirational for us. I want you to hear what she said, and then I'm going to dive in a little bit here. I'm going to tell you what I think killed the sitcoms.
Why, as a Black person, I can't turn on the TV and find not one single show that portrays my community in a positive light? We used to have Martin. We had Living Single. We had Sister. We had all that. We had a different world where Black people was at college. We could see that on the Cosby Show, this Black man is a doctor, so I can go be a doctor if I want to.
Let's pause here for a second. So that's important. And for the younger people in the chat, like, I just want to explain it like this. When I was growing up, we had Family Matters. We had, like she said, Martin, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Cosby Show. Although by the time I was able to watch the Cosby Show, it was nearing its end, right? So, but still, you can still watch the reruns, etc. And also even the UPN shows, which I'm gonna get to in just a second. Like, there was Moesha, there was the Parkers, there were so many different shows. Martin is probably still one of my favorites till this day. And then somewhere along the way, not just Black sitcoms, but sitcoms in general became not a thing. And I can tell you, that was every night of the week, you had a show that you could watch. Tuesday is this day. Like Tuesday, oh, I could watch Martin. Thursday, oh, we're going to watch Moesha. Oh, there was always a day for a different like show that you could watch. There was Malcolm and Eddie. Like, I grew up like watching these shows and they were funny. And then one day they were gone. And then one day, all the sitcoms, all these shows just went away. And I have a belief about this. And my belief is that I blame a lot of this on reality TV. Because I remember when The Real World started on MTV, that was the first reality TV show I ever saw, was The Real World. And that first season was wild because they didn't have a big budget back then. So you kind of saw everything. And I just remember The Real World at that time was that reality show. Now it has gotten to the point where every channel has a reality show. Bravo has the Housewife series that they make a lot of money off of, the Housewives shows. Like, I think that show that channel that Oprah owns, Oxygen or whatever, I think they also have a reality show. Everybody got a reality show now. And over time, like, for me, it's just like, okay, at some point or another, as viewers, we decided I want to watch everyday people, not someone portraying an actor on TV. And a lot of the ratings started to go towards reality television and not so much more the sitcoms. And so these shows started to fall by the wayside. Now, some of them, they had their years, they did their time, and they're like, okay, the actors wanted to move on to other things, like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right? But some of them ended because the ratings started to go down. And I really do think people started to watch more reality TV. And I think that is one of the things that took a toll on it. Let's continue on more here.
As a doctor, so I can go be a doctor if I want to. Carl Winslow was a police officer. I could go be a police officer if I want to. We don't have not a single show that portrays us in a positive light. The whole Power Book series is so good. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's a very good series. It's very interesting. The storyline is great. But in all of them, we drug dealers and murderers. It ain't a single show. A little Black girl can't turn on the TV and see a mama and a daddy in a household thriving.
That part right there is really important. And I do want to tell you about what that did for me as a kid. My parents didn't have a lot of money, like when I was a kid. Like, my dad was in the military. You start out with a low rank in the beginning, and he didn't have a college degree, so you start at the bottom, like as a private, right? So my parents didn't have a lot of money, but they made do with what they had, right? But when I watch shows, in particular, like A Different World, that show inspired me to go to college. Like, we had shows that were more wholesome, where you could see a family like coming together for different things, where you were inspired to go do things. And people can say what they want about, the Cosby Show and all that type of stuff, but I could sit there and I could watch a show where the husband was a doctor and his wife was a lawyer. A Different World, all these Black students in college. And there are a number of people that will tell you till this day that after watching A Different World, they were inspired to attend like an HBCU or attend college, period. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, no, that wasn't my lifestyle. I mean, I didn't live in Beverly Hills, but it was interesting seeing a show about a Black family that did. The point is, we had positivity. Even when we watch Family Matters, yeah, we had the jokes about, go home, Steve, and all that type of stuff. But look at the house that the family lived in Family Matters. You saw how big that house was? And the father didn't have like some big time job. He was a police officer. So these were the kind of things that we grew up with. It was more positivity out there. And now I just don't see that. So I wonder why, I guess I don't wonder why anymore. I see a lot of the younger kids today, younger generation, and they're just like, well, they're not inspired or hopeful. And part of that has to do with the news and the current state of the economy. And I get that. But I also wonder if they have something to watch that inspires them. Let's continue.
It's either us doing something that's bad, or it's reality TV, which is just showing Black women fight other Black women over nothing, like men.
All the women shows, all the housewife shows where they have women flipping over tables and cussing each other out and pulling hair and getting really drunk and everything. Yeah.
We even had cartoons like The Proud Family. We had That's So Raven. We had stuff that portrays the Black community in a positive light. We don't have that anymore. And it's a certain aura that you get when you watch stuff like that. Like, dang, I wish I was around during those times. But now when you turn on the TV, it is not a single show that you can go to that is portraying Black people in a positive way. Even Tyler Perry can't get it together. That's crazy. Little Black girls is turning on the TV and admiring BBLs and lace fronts fighting over men. And a lot of y'all gonna cancel me because y'all watch that stuff. And no tea, no shade. My little sister watched it. I hate that stuff. My mama watched it. It's the Black community. It's nothing else on TV. If you ain't watching sports, or you ain't going back and watching 1,000 reruns of Living Single and Martin and stuff like I do, it's really nothing positive feeding the Black community on TV anymore. And that is a whole nother agenda. That is crazy. I never thought you used to go turn on the TV and it'd be a bunch of different good Black shows.
Yeah. At once upon a time, it was like that. Once upon a time, like, we had our pick too. It's like, okay, and there was a channel called UPN. I think it was UPN, and then it was the WB, and then it was something else. I forget. It went through different names, but that one in particular, you could see Moesha, you could see like the Parkers, like all of them. There was another show. Oh, Sister. Remember the show with Tia and Tamara and the twins? So yeah, there was a lot more positivity, but I do want to say something about what she said there towards the end about what these little girls may be watching now on TV. I sincerely hope that they're not watching stuff like The Housewives or things like that. I hope they're not. But she said there's no positivity. So then that goes back to the question that I always ask you about following the money, right? Who owns the studios? Who owns the studios? Who owns the network? Who are the producers? See, this is the problem. Right? That's why a lot of that positivity went away. And honestly, a lot of times they look at ratings and they say, oh, people want to see chaos. They want to see things that are out there. So then that's what they continue to put in. But like I said, if we don't own it, that's going to be a part of the problem from the get-go. Big problem there. So the good news about this is apparently this has been heard, or people are recognizing it. Fans of the original A Different World series rejoice. Jasmine Guy, Kadeem Hardison, Cree Summer, and Daryl M. Bell are coming back together for the Netflix spinoff series, reprising their roles from the Mothership series. The quad appeared in the pilot episode. It will recur in season 1. So big news. So this was the cast of A Different World. And a lot of people who are younger may not know this, but there's Jada Pinkett before she was Will Smith's wife, before she was, let me go back here. Before she was with Will, before she was, in the Matrix movies and all these different things, she was on A Different World. And Jada from Be More. So like Baltimore people know Jada like that. All these characters together. So I guess it sounds like some of them are coming back and they are doing a spinoff of A Different World. I think that's kind of cool. Listen, guys, I got to tell you, like I noticed Netflix, they put Martin on Netflix. It's getting a whole new following. The same thing happened with Friends, right? When they started to put Friends on Netflix, it gained a whole new following. This is happening with Martin as well, where people who are the generation behind me, like people who are Gen Z, they're like, whoa, this show Martin's really funny. Like, how come we don't have? And I feel bad for them sometimes because I'm like, I grew up with these things. I don't even know if there are sitcoms now. I don't hear about them. If there are they even funny? Like, it just, so I do understand where she's coming from. And I think that what a lot of people may not realize too, when you look at a network like UPN, in the beginning, what I remember is that a lot of the shows on UPN were Black shows in the beginning. From what I remember, Moesha and all them, those shows really got the network's name out there. And then once the network started to get more eyes on it and it started to grow and get more attention, little by little, those shows started to disappear. Moesha, The Parkers was one of the highest rating shows, by the way. Monique has talked about this. Actress Monique that was in The Parkers. She talked about it, how popular it was. But even though, they weren't getting the residuals that they were supposed to get, even though that show was very popular. Malcolm and Eddie, like people forget, like a lot of times those shows, they're what kicked off UPN. And then it started to get its name, its recognition, and that popularity. And then they started that paved the way for some of the other shows that came later, like Smallville. That paved the way for some of the other shows. I think was Buffy on there? Or was Buffy on Fox? I forget, but you get my drift, right? Then once those other shows started, UPN didn't need the Black shows anymore. So those shows were gone. So people have to remember these things. UPN, CW, who says CW? Leroy. Yeah, UPN, WB, and then I think it's now the CW. It changed name multiple times. So Chuck said they were so good we would run home from whatever we were doing at that time to watch them. Wouldn't miss it with a beat. There was no streaming at that time. So it's not like, oh, I'll just sit here and binge watch a whole season. No. And that's another thing. Let me put this down here. I think that's something else that hurt the sitcom game is that now you have it where it's either Netflix or Hulu. You can sit there and just binge watch a whole season. But when I was growing up as a kid, that wasn't possible. You could only see a new episode each week, except of course, there's like holiday breaks or whatever. But the other episodes weren't just readily available to you. So you could sit down one Saturday and watch all of them. So things have changed. But like I said, I do think reality TV, I think hurt it a lot. And so it's weird. Like when I see that A Different World could be coming back or the spinoff of it with those actors, it's, I'm happy about it. At the same time, it's like, I wish those shows never ended. I wish a different world would have just continued with different classes of people, right? So a different freshman class and more people would come on. But I wish we still had those shows. I wish we still had a show like Martin or The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or Family Matters or, things like that. When I was growing up, it was called TGIF. Thank goodness it's Friday. And on Friday, they would have all these shows that you would watch. Family Matter. What was it, guys? Family Matters, Full House. What was the other one? Step by Step was one of them. I don't remember everybody, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, and I used to look forward to that on Friday nights. So I don't know what kids are watching today. I really don't know. I don't know what, they're watching. Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Someone else mentioned that in the chat. That was another one too. Hanging with Mr. Cooper, My Wife and Kids. Like these things were good and they were so positive. But I just don't see those things like that now, So is there and for the teenage, is there like a Saved by the Bell? Is there something like that for the youth today? See, I don't even know. I don't hear about those things, but it's just like, I feel like we had those positive things to watch. And so I think what that also means for producers is that obviously there is a request, especially during these times where people can be stressed out and there's a lot going on in our country and across the world. I think now is a time where people could use some more positivity. And I think that they would appreciate those types of shows, just something to think about. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.